Hello. Welcome to another Thursday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the US. Thanks so much for joining me. And please, when you jump on, let me know if you have any connection issues because I've been having some issues and I just did an internet test and it's not very good. So if you could just give me a thumbs up and let me know how things are going, I would appreciate it. So let me get hooked up here and we'll see who we've got on. And let's do that, turn the sound off, and here we go. Let's see what we've got here. All right. So it's looking live. And let's try and keep an eye on that and see how it goes. And I am not getting the chat, so let's see. Open the panel. Let's see what happens. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's see. All right, come on. Okay, there we go. Hi, Tracy. Thank you. Hopefully we won't have any internet issues tonight, although when I checked my speed, it's not good. So we'll see how this goes. All right, so we're going to be using Thankful Garden again this evening. And we're going to be making a treat box. And I'm going to tell you right up front that I don't have any treats in my box because the box I made specifically for something. And I don't want to give that surprise away ahead of time. So I'm not going to show that. But just suffice it, you can put whatever you want for candies in it and it'll work. All right. So this is the box we will be making tonight. I've got the grandkids here, so hopefully he'll keep his mouth quiet. No. And we'll get through this. Okay, so this is the box. It's 2.5 by 2 3/4 by 2.5 deep. And that is the box we'll be making tonight. So I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to make this as quick and easy as I can. Okay, so first of all, we're going to need to make some templates, and that's going to make our life easier. So I'm going to show you how to make those templates as quick as I could figure out. So I'm going to start with, I've got 2 pieces of a scrap white cardstock. You don't want this to be real thick cardstock, so I've got 2 pieces. I'm going to put these in my Stamparatus, both of them at the same time. Actually, it doesn't matter if you put them both at the same time. You can just do one. But I'm just going to stack those. And then I'm going to take my Memento Tuxedo Black. I'm going to ink that up. And then I'm going to stamp on this top one. Okay, taking note of where I have my paper here. I lined it up at the top and over here on a straight line. and it's a particular straight line. So if you don't have a sticky mat that has lines on it like I do, just put a mark on your mat that you can take away later. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and set this aside for a moment. Nathan, go get these wet for Grandma, please. This and this. Thank you. Okay. Well, at least I have a little assistant. Okay, so I'm going to clean that just so it doesn't get yuck everywhere, because we're going to bring in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and the Thankful Garden dies. Okay, so today we're going to be using this small flower here. So I'm going to take this out. I've marked mine so that I know this is the top of the die and it goes at the top of this flower. Okay, so with both sheets of my cardstock together, I'm going to lay this down. Make sure those are really together up in this left corner is the one I'm worried about the most. And then I'm going to bring in my plates. Oh man, that was a mistake. Never, oh, yeah, don't do that either. Okay, I've got too much stuff where I don't need it at the moment. Okay, that's got to go. Too much stuff. It pulled the bottom of my Stamparatus pulled my die right off of the paper here. So let me line that back up. I was trying to grab those plates that I had sitting there. Okay, so now we're going to put this in with plate 1, plate 2, and plate 3. Put another plate 3 over the top. And I move those papers. Hang on. You know what? I'm going to make sure those papers don't move again. And I am going to tape them together. And then they won't move. Okay? Now I can put those in and I can run this through. And I'll be cutting both of those papers at the same time. Okay? Now we can put this out of the way. Squeeze it out really good, sweetie. Okay, so then we've got this. And now we've got these, but they're not our regular cardstock. But we will use this one in just a minute. Okay, so let's get these out of the way and bring back in the Stamparatus. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to line this back up. This one's already done. We don't need to worry about it. Okay. That tape doesn't want to come off after it's been rolled through on this cheaper paper. Okay, that's fine. We'll just put it in like this. Put that back in how we had it. Now we're going to take this one that we cut out that's stamped. And we're going to put this back in here. Okay. And then we're going to make sure this is lined up for that. And it is. Thank you. And we're going to ink this up. Okay. And then what you're going to see is that now we have 2 masks, one for stamping, one for stenciling. We ran them through the Big Boss once. Okay, so we've got that done. Now, I've pre-cut in advance some pieces. Let me grab those. So I've pre-cut one of the all-around dies. And this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth from the center. Okay, so we're going to be using that. Get out of the way, please. All right. And then I've also cut 2 of those smaller die cuts, the same flower that we just cut out of the center. You're going to need 2 of those. Okay. Uh-oh. I'm missing a die. I'll bet it stuck to the bottom of my Stamparatus. Yep. There it is. Oh, a whole bunch of them. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's fix that up. At least we were able to find them quickly. Never set your Stamparatus on a magnet sheet. That doesn't work well. Okay, so I've also cut from the Thankful Garden. I cut this 3-piece leaf in soft seafoam. And from the Stylish Shapes dies, I've cut the smallest of the Stylish Shapes dies banner pieces right here. Okay, and I did that in basic white. Okay, so that is all of our die cutting. Okay, now let's bring in our masks. And we need to clean this off real quick because we're actually done with the Stamparatus. Okay. Okay, let's put this up here. And then we're going to take those masks, the stenciling masks that we made, and we're going to put this down. And where did I put my little, oh my goodness, I had everything set right here where I needed it. Where, oh man, what'd you guys do with that? I don't know. Where is it? Okay, well, I guess I'll do it the other way. I have this little thing to hold on to this, and it has disappeared. Oh, there it is. I buried it. I buried it. I need this. My little mat here. I buried it under the stamp set. It's amazing how big a mess you can make so fast when everything is all neat and tidy when you start. I need my little sticky grid here. Okay, so I'm just going to put my mask, the mask that we made, down here. And then I'm going to place my small flower here. And then we'll take the masks from the Thankful Garden, and we're only using 1, 2, and 3. Okay. I don't think I even need that color. Okay, so we're going to start with mask number 1. And I'm going to line this up with my image. Oh, wait a minute. This is where this came in handy. Hang on. We need this piece right here. This is why we're reusing this piece. We're going to stick this back in here. Line this up how we want it. Okay, that's starting to annoy me. There we go. And then we'll just line this up. And there we go. Then I'm going to take my knit tape here. And my Sharpie marker. And I'm just going to write with the Sharpie marker on the glass mat around the corners here. Okay. And where I can't, then I'm going to take a little pencil here. I'm just going to mark that there, and that'll help me line this up quickly and easily. Suzanne, can you shut the door, please? Thank you. Okay, so kids are gone. That's good. All right, so now I can take this, now that this is all set, and I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to put this die cut back in. Okay, I'm just going to pop that in there. Well, I am if it's going to cooperate. There we go. All right, then we're going to start with some, where do I even have that color? That's not the right color either. We're starting with Flirty Flamingo. And we're going to put I'm going to go around the outside edge first. And then put a light coat in the center. Okay. And then I need to do 2 of these for this one box. So I'm going to pop that out and pop another one right in there. This keeps me from having to move the mask and reposition it 6 times. Now I can just do this. Okay, and you'll notice these aren't stamped, and there's a reason why I'm doing it this way. So we're going to do this. Okay. Oh, was that? That's not the right one. This is the non-basic white. Okay, so we're going to pop that out of there now. Pop another one in. So if you were making multiple boxes, then you could do this, do all your flowers all at once. Okay. If you're going to make a box, why make one? Okay. So now I'm going to pop that out. No, I don't need to pop that out. I'm going to put that right back in. Hang on, because I'm only doing 2 flowers. All right. I've got too much stuff here. Okay, so let's pull this off. We're done with mask number 1. Let's move to mask number 2. We'll reposition that with our marks and make sure we line up here. Let's put our little thingy back in first. Let's make life easy on ourselves, shall we? Okay, then we'll put this in. Line that back up. Put a little tape. And we're going to move to Calypso Coral. Okay, so I've got a little bit of Calypso Coral. I'm going to go kind of light on the Calypso Coral. Calypso Coral can be a very dark color if you're not careful. So let's pull that and put this one in. And it looks like I moved my mask just a touch here. So let's fix that and get that back into place. Okay, because I grabbed that. All right, and then I'm not even going to re-ink my brush this time. I'm just going to put some Calypso Coral in there. And this time I'm going to be a little bit smarter. I'm just going to leave that one right there. Okay. And then I'm going to take Melon Mambo. And I'm going to rub off some of this too. Oh, before I do that, I should switch my mask to number 3. We'll line that up. These have a number 3, your numbers right up here in the corner next to that, right below that notch. And the notch should always be on the left-hand side so that your mask is the correct side up. Okay, so again, I'm going to take my Melon Mambo here and I'm just going to go over that. Now I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to pop that out and I'm going to pop this back in. And I'm going to ink that up. And okay. And then we're going to take this out. Okay, now we're done with those. So we can set these aside. We've got the flowers that we need. And I can pull all this away and put it away out of my way. And then I'll keep this in with my stencil set so that I don't have to repeat that process again. Okay, let's pull this off. Figure out, well, I don't know what I did with it, so I'll stick it here. All right, get these out of here. And let's clean up this. I'll get this off. Just get that mess out before I get it all over me. Okay, and that took my Sharpie right off. Okay, so now we're going to bring back in that Stamparatus again. And I took that stencil off. That was dumb. That was dumb. Why did I do that? Okay, well, we might have to reline up our, and what did I do with that stamping stencil? It's right here. Might have to reline up our stamp here. Okay, because I pulled that off when I shouldn't have. Leave your stencil on here when you finish. Okay, so if this happens, well, you're going to reuse the stencil, so now I can show you what you would do to reuse the stencil for the next time anyway. Now you can just take this, line it up, lay it right on top of that stamped image, okay, and then your stamp is ready, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this out of here, and I'm going to pop this in here, okay? And then I'm going to ink up my stamp again with Memento. And I don't need to ink the whole stamp, really. I just need the one. But what this does by doing it in this direction is that you get a nice fresh inking on the top, and your black is not distorted by the ink blending. When I did it the other way, I felt like it blurred out my inking, and so I wasn't super happy with that. Okay, so again, I just need to ink up the small flower. I don't need the whole flower, just the small flower. And that's not dark enough, so I'm going to do it again. There we go. And now my flowers are done. Okay, so let's go ahead and wipe this off. Sorry, I should have remembered that I was doing that and that I needed to leave this, but at least now you know that it does work and how you can redo it by keeping your stencils so you don't have to keep redoing the stencils time after time after time. As long as you have a stamp positioner, you can just keep relining it up and you will be in good shape. Okay, now what did I do with the plastic piece that goes over that? Boy, wouldn't I like to know where I'm setting stuff down at. Well, we're going to use something else to keep that from getting all yucky. I'll find it afterwards. Okay. Okay. So we do need them. So I'm going to bring in Balmy Blue cardstock now. I'm going to let those dry. Or cardstock. Balmy Blue ink. And I'm bringing in my all-around circle die here. And I'm going to ink the outside edges. Okay. Just put some ink on there. I don't care about the center part. I just want a good inking on the outside edge there. Okay, so there's my blue. And then I'm going to dry this because I probably should have done this first. Because I need that ink to be nice and dry. So we're going to do some embossing with gold on this, and I don't necessarily want that gold powder to stick wherever I don't want it. So let's do that. And then we'll bring in a scrap paper. Okay. And we're going to bring in the splatter stamp and the Versamark ink. This splatter stamp comes from the Elements of Text. If you've been watching in the last couple of weeks, you've seen quite a bit of use of this. And so we're going to take this and get all my excess stuff beside me out of the way. And then I'm going to put a little splatter, and I'm not using the whole stamp. I'm only using pieces of it. And I'm rotating it because I don't want it all to look the same. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's go ahead and bring in our Embossing Additions toolkit. I didn't use my embossing buddy. I hope that works out for us. I meant to use it. Okay, so I'm just going to pour some gold embossing powder on here. Run it around the edge there. And hope that doesn't stick to all that ink. Oh, it's not too horrible. The embossing buddy would have made this much easier for us, though, that's for sure. Okay, so let's take a paintbrush It should be right here in front of my face. I've got a lot of excess out here that I don't want. And that's simply because I didn't run the embossing buddy over this and the ink was still a little bit on the wet side. So the good news is because it's a splatter stamp, if there's a little bit of excess, nobody will notice. Okay, so that last flick got quite a bit off. All right. Now let's pull in our heat tool. I'm going to warm that up. And I'm going to get that embossing powder way away from me while that's warming up, because otherwise I'll have a mess because I'll spill it. All right, so let's go ahead and heat this up. Heat set it. Okay, and then this is what our piece looks like. Okay, so this piece is now ready. Get any excess heat powder off of there. All right, and then we need to bring in, oh, let's bring this back. I need to get all the powder off of here though. So we're going to bring in that leaf. Okay. And I'm going to take the dark soft sea foam Stampin' Blend. And I wanted to add a little bit of definition here. So I'm just going to take my marker, my brush tip, and run it along these cuts that the die cut made. And then I'm going to just go lightly around the edge. With my brush tip here. And all that's going to do is give me a little bit of extra definition. And it's tone on tone. So while it might look kind of dark right now, it won't be that dark when it dries. Okay, so we've got that and we can set that aside. Now we're going to choose which one of these we think is the best for the center part and which is the best for the outside part. So I'm going to use this one for my outside and this one for my inside. And I'm going to take and I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to fussy cut out this center. And I'm going to go just outside the black stamp line. And just fussy cut that. Now, of course, you don't have to do this. If you want to just use your flower as is, that is totally up to you. Your project will still turn out beautifully. It just won't have as much dimension. And that's okay. If that's how you like it, then that's how you should do it. Okay? So now we've got this, and we've got this piece. I'm going to go ahead and take my thumbnail and give this a little bit of dimension. I'm going to do the same, but I'm going to be very careful with this one. It is only cardstock, and it is a very small, delicate piece, so it will rip. All right, now we're going to take our Wink of Stella. And on this one, I'm going to put Wink of Stella on the outside petal. I don't need to do the center because it's going to be covered. And then I'm just going to add some to this piece. Okay. Now I'm going to set that aside to dry for a minute. And let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment while we're here. So from the same Thankful Garden set, I've taken the And Thanks, which now I'm not sure where I set the stamps. Oh, I buried it underneath my thing, which should be up here. And Nathan left it pretty wet. Okay, let me fix this. Hang on, I'm going to have water everywhere. Bless his heart, he tried to help, and he leaves it a lot wetter than I do. Okay, so we have You Make a Difference, With Love and Thanks, and Thankful for You, Friend. We're going to be using the And Thanks, but we're only going to stamp Thanks. So we're going to take the Calypso Coral ink. Nope, Flirty Flamingo. Sorry. Flirty Flamingo ink. And we're just going to ink up Thanks. Now you could take a Post-it note or something and cover the and, but Stampin' Up! Did leave enough room between the ampersand and the word thanks so that you can ink that separately. And I'm going to put that kind of in the center, but more toward the right. Okay, so it looks like this. Okay, so that is our sentiment now. And let's go ahead and build our focal point here. We're going to take a glue dot and we're going to put the center of that flower on that glue dot. And then take that glue dot or that center of that flower and line it up. And then just give that a press in the center. And then I'm going to take and just give that a little bit of a lift. Okay, so our flower's done. And now we can add our leaves to our piece here. So let's take some liquid glue. And I'm going to put a dot of glue at the base of each leaf. And then at the juncture of the stems on both spots there. And then we'll just add this like so. Okay. And then we'll take a Stampin' Dimensional or two. Oops. Not three. Actually, I think I can get away with one just there in that center. Give that a good press in. And then we're going to add this here. We're going to take some mini dimensionals and add it to our sentiment strip. And we're going to leave the middle empty because I don't want to put a little extra bump in the sentiment strip because it's going to straddle the stem. So we're just going to put this in here. Make sure we don't cover up our thanks with our leaf. All right. So this is now ready to add to our box. But first we need to build our box. So let's go ahead and get that going. Okay. We're going to start with a piece of balmy blue cardstock. I've got some designer series paper, and this is the beautiful bouquet paper, and I'm using this piece here. Okay, it's going to take more than just over one piece for you to cut out your pieces, and I'll tell you what those sizes are. But let's bring in our scoring tool. Yeah, Tracy, I can't believe I set that Stamparatus over there instead of up where it belonged, and then I ended up with those where they shouldn't be. Okay, so I'm going to start on this piece is 8.5 by 10 3/8. Okay, so 8.5 by 10 3/8, and I'm going to score it on the 8.5 side at 2.5, 5 1/4, and 7 3/4. Okay, then I'm going to rotate, and I'm going to score at 2.5, 5, 7.5, and 10. Okay, so again, 8.5 side is 2.5, 5 1/4, 7 3/4. Rotate 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10. Okay, so let's burnish and score on all of our score lines here. I like to fold in both or score in both directions so that my paper gets stretched evenly and my box doesn't end up cattywampus. Because nobody wants a cattywampus box. Okay. So when you look at this is the back side. I've got a real long thin strip here, and then I've got a long thicker strip here. This is the top of our box. This is the side of our box. So I'm going to start over here. And on this largest middle section, the largest of the three, I'm going to angle cut at this score mark and angle cut at that score mark. Then I'm going to cut off the entire score mark up to that angle cut I made. Okay? With the top, we do not need these 4 pieces. So I'm going to cut down on the second score line from the left, and I'm going to remove the score line entirely when I cut. Down up to the second score line. So 1, 2. And then I'm going to cut over, removing that score line entirely and remove those sections. Okay? And we don't need that. Now let's go ahead. This is going to be the top of our box, and these 2 pieces on either side are the tabs. That's very important to note at this point. So what you want to do when you cut on your score lines is you want to cut to the left of this score line and to the right of this score line so that those score lines are not on the top of your box. So we're going to remove those by cutting straight down the edge of that score to the second score line. And we're going to repeat that on the other side. Okay. And then we're going to turn it 180 degrees. And again, now this is still going to be a tab, and this is going to be a tab. So I'm going to cut on this one. This is going to be the bottom inside, so really it doesn't matter. This is going to be the bottom outside, so it does matter. But I like to cut off the score line here. Okay. Cut off the score line on this on the front bottom flap. And I'm going to do that on both sides of that rectangle here. Okay. Now, these tabs, the bottom tabs are going to be too wide, and so are the top tabs. So first of all, so we don't get confused, let's go ahead and round the corners of that middle large rectangle on the top. Okay, so we're rounding the corners on the tuck flap. All right, now we're going to bring in our trimmer. Yeah, it's amazing how quickly the mess starts. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to keep these out, fold this one in. Okay, and I'm going to fold that up because I'm going to do this all at once. I folded this one in, I'm going to fold this one in. This one I can't fold in, so I'm going to fold this one in. All right, and then I'm going to lay this down on my trimmer with those 4 flaps, and I'm going to bring this tab to the 1 1/4 inch mark, or you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. You're at 1 1/4, and cut those off. Then I'm going to turn this around. And this one I can't do that because I've got the flap. So here I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's going to be 1 1/4 inches. And you'll know that because your score line will line up with the 1 1/4 mark. And then we're going to cut those off. Okay. So this is now what we have left. Okay. And since these are our tabs now, I'm going to flip these over. I'm going to flip those back up. And on these short pieces, I'm going to angle cut and remove those score lines on either side so that we remove that bulk and everything fits together nicely when it goes together. This is the bottom. Now the top, you don't want to put too deep of an angle cut, but yet you need to put enough that your tab will tuck in. So just don't get crazy cutting off the score marks here on the angle cuts. I'm going to fold all that out of my way because I don't need it. Okay, these are what hold your tab inside your box. Okay, so that is all the trimming. And this is now ready. Okay, top of our box, bottom of our box, side of our box. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to take some tear and tape. And I'm going to put my tear and tape right next to the score line on the skinny section, which is my glue tab. Okay. And I'm just going to remove that. Then I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to put tape on the small tab, the large tab, the small tab. Okay, if you remember, start with the small on the outside and do the 3 tabs and leave the last tab, which is the long tab. Then you'll put your adhesive right where it needs to be. Okay, so we've got that. I'm just going to give that a burnish. Make sure that it adheres. And then I'm going to grab my take your pick tool and I'm going to take off the side glue tab first. And then I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to fold in on the second score line from the right and the first score line from the left. and just fold that flat and then give that a burnish. And before I did that, I should have put my paper on, and I didn't. So I'm going to do it now while it's still flat, while I still can. Okay. So for this top section here, this piece is 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. Now, I put a very tiny border in, so if you don't want that tiny of a border, you would do 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. And remember that if you have a directional pattern, this is going to glue in and this is going to be your top. So you want to make sure the bottom of your pattern is next to the tuck tab and the top of your pattern is headed toward the back of the box. Okay. I don't really have a directional pattern, so it really doesn't matter. And I'm just going to put this on here. 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. All right. Now all 4 pieces here are the same size, and that is 2 3/8 by 2 5/8. Let me double check that. Yes, 2 3/8 by 2 5/8. You need 4 pieces. Okay. And then we're just going to put those on here. And of course, as this directional, you want your pattern to run top to bottom. Or maybe you don't. I guess that's up to you. However you want it. And I'm just going to throw these in here. I got a little bit of adhesive right here. It's giving me some trouble. I love this glass mat. It does make life a lot easier to craft. Just wipe things right off. You don't have to worry about stickiness. It comes off so easy. I did this wrong. So I'll use extra adhesive. I want to make sure my top and bottom don't move. Okay, so now we've got all the DSP on. Now I can pop this open. I like to take and put my sides in on the top, fold in my tuck tab, which I forgot to put I'm going to do that right now before I get my bottom fixed. I'm going to bring in a 1-inch circle punch. And I'm just going to give myself a thumb notch here. Hope I'm not too far off center. Okay. And I'll fold this in. And let's see. Nope, I'm good. I thought I was going to have to take something off of the side flap there, but it's good. So now I can remove my tape. If you've watched me for any length of time, I always like to have a clean bottom on the inside of my boxes. So when I do mine, this is the back of my box. This is what I want to be the back of my box. So I fold my back flap in, fold my 2 sides in, and then fold the front over the 3. Okay, and then I'll open up this box and I'm going to take a glue bottle because it's a little bit bigger and give that a good press and adhere all of that adhesive down. Okay, so now my box is done, and that will hold quite a bit of candies or whatever. The finished box size is 2 1/2 by 2 3/4 by 2 1/2. So 2 1/2, 2 3/4, and 2 1/2. So you almost have a square box, but it's a little bit taller than it is around. Okay, so you can get quite a bit of stuff in there. You can throw in several fun-sized candies, bunches of Hershey's Kisses, a small gift, which is actually what I made these for, a small gift. And then we're going to turn this around. This is going to be the front. This is our template for the box. If you need to take a screenshot, this will be on my blog on Sunday. Okay. So I'm going to get that out of here. And then we're going to take and we're going to bring back in our focal image piece. Because this is a 3D item, I can stack my dimensionals as high as I like. And I am going to take full advantage of that. And here we go. So now I'm just going to put this down on here, making sure I've got the box right side up. I'm going to put that kind of near the bottom because I don't want my leaf sticking out too bad to really interfere with the opening here. Okay, I could have put that leaf down just a little bit lower, but it's going to be fine. Okay, now to finish this off, we're going to grab the low profile dots, which of course I could have gone big, but I liked how these looked. And even though they're golden petal pink, I like the petal pink ones. I could have put the gold ones on, but I'm not. So I'm going to take one of the little pink ones, and I'm going to put it here right next to thanks. And then I'm going to take another small one and put it here. And then I'm going to put a larger one. Not there. I don't like that. Come on. And I didn't even put it down. It just dropped down there. Let's see if I can get it off. Well, it might be stuck there because it might have decided that's where it wants to live. It's not where I would have put. I wanted it to come down a little bit more, but I'm afraid I'll rip the paper now if I take it off, and I didn't even push it down. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to do with this, because it's a gift, I'm pulling in the open weave trim. This is in the online exclusive, or no, this is in the mini catalog because it's part of that birthday celebration suite. And I've got about 22 inches. So 12 and then 10, that's what I did, was measure it right there on my glass mat. And then I'm going to set my box on this. And we're just going to tie a nice bow right here on the top. And yes, the recipient will have to untie the bow, which I don't generally do, but it's a gift. So it's got to have a bow. If I can get a hold of this netting. Come on. Cooperate. There we go. I don't know if I'm going to be happy with that, if I'm going to have to redo that. Yep, sorry. I got to zhuzh it, and it's not wanting to zhuzh the way I want it to zhuzh. So I think I want a little bit, I don't know. Let's see. Let's get this. With this ribbon, it's easier to tie a bow if you kind of twist it up while you're doing it so that you don't have all of that width. And then it ties quite nicely. And then the width comes back. Okay, then you can just pull it out. Makes it so much easier to tie that bow when you do that. Just a little tip there. I still didn't get that quite even, but it's okay. We're going to go with it. All right. Well, I hope you like that box. That's what I have for my share for tonight and my tutorial. And I hope you give that a try. And if you do, in the description below the video, after when it goes to the public later this evening, there will be a link. I lost my train of thought. That's crazy. There'll be a link in the description below anyway, so that you can share on my Facebook page, my Facebook social media page. Okay? So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I will see you again Tuesday night on Facebook at 7 p.m. live, or back here on YouTube next Thursday at 7, assuming I'm not at a track meet, which could happen. I'll post something on Facebook if that's the case and I can't make it. All right. Good night. Ah, thanks, Tracy. I'm so glad you liked that box. Thanks so much for joining me. Everybody, have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Good night. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Thanks so much. Good night.